Good evening, my friends. Issue is independence of judiciary and Indian Constitution. The judiciary has been there for long, even under the colonial regime. But why the question of independence of judiciary and the Constitution comes in? When we enter into a constitutional regime after independence, our Constitution, which is the repository of law, all law, Constitution says anything which is against the Constitution is unconstitutional. And who is going to decide? Constitution says that Constitution creates constitutional courts. Supreme Court under Article 32 for enforcement of fundamental rights. Constitutional goal. High courts are created and empowered with the constitutional power under Article 226, which is much wider than that of Article 32. Here, any and every person can approach the court saying that my rights under the law has been violated. Therefore, the judges must be independent of whom and independent of what? Judges are really looking at the action of the legislators and the executive to ensure that the Constitution has been followed. Constitutional courts are protector and preacher of Constitution. The legislature, one of my learned speaker referred to, that nowadays the legislatures are packed with billionaires and little less than billionaires. The legislators will make law, you can blindfoldedly take it, which would support their interest. Now it's the duty of the judges to see whether that law really fulfills the goals of the Constitution. What are the goals of Constitution? Everybody has referred to. I just mentioned our Constitution perceived a society having economic justice and social justice. It has very wide meaning. Social justice, every day you face that there is social injustice. Economic injustice is galore. When we are speaking here, sitting in an air-conditioned room, you will find under scorching heat, people is vending just for his living. Article 21 ensures right to life. Who is going to decide? Of course, our Supreme Court has said ultimately that right to life does not mean only biological existence. Right to life has some basic requirements which is to be looked into fulfilled. But the legislators will not make any law to ensure that. You may be rest assured. If the judges who are appointed become subservient to the executive and the legislature, then they cannot become independent. Therefore, the Constitution had made provision securing the judge's job, if I may use that expression, which was used by Justice Bhagwati in one of his judgments, that we are insulated from executives, how that we cannot be removed by the executive. Applying Article 311.2, we go out. No inquiry cannot be done. Judges have to be removed by a process of impeachment. I am not going to detail of impeachment. The principal of the law college here, he will pull me down. Now, judges' salary does not depend on the whims of the executives. That comes from consolidated fund. Parliament decides. They are given ample protection so far their service is concerned. They are given ample benefits. Little digression, maybe little personal, don't take it otherwise. My appointment came, I had refused. Few days thereafter, one of the retired judges, when saw me in a proceeding, in an arbitration proceeding, said, Bikas, what nonsense, what have you done? So anyway, I have refused. Do you know what are the benefits you are enjoying? Doing nothing. That was his impression. If few of the judges think that I am secure, my duty only to say yes to the executive and then yes to the legislature, then I am not independent. Therefore, independence must be at the source of recruitment, which has been referred to. And in this process, again, I say that I had the privilege to appear in one of the reference by the President of India with regard to the recruitment of judges. When the transformation was thought of, at one point of time, the rulers wanted committed judges, a dangerous thing. Committed judges means they will be committed to the chair, committed to a particular political dispensation. I would have been very happy if they are committed to constitutional philosophy. In one of the judgment, one of the Supreme Court judges, might be Venkatacharya or Krishna, I just can't exactly recollect, but I recollect the issue. He said that if the judges think that they have to deliver a judgment under the dictation and threat, then he is not fit to be a judge. That is all real situation of philosophy. In reality, I am not going down to the magistrate or this senior junior judge level. Just a few days back, Chandrachud referred that our magistrates are fear of granting bail. What's the fear? The fear is the local political bosses will put them under threat. One of my juniors who is a district judge, I asked him, what nonsense are you doing? He said, sir, you can't believe, we always live under threat. What sort of threat? Well, while I was on the morning walk, suddenly 2-3 persons will rush by and say, be careful, don't refuse the bail. See, reality in life. He says, sir, I have my family, my child goes to school, what do I do? Therefore, the independence has direct correlation with the independent society. And that is the duty of the lawyers. That's why I am here to espouse this cause. The lawyers have to be very much independent and very much vocal in every sphere. In the very recent judgment, you must have gone through when the question of appointment of the Election Commission was being discussed by the Supreme Court. In which judgment the Supreme Court said that till law is framed, Chief Justice will be one of the members in the committee to choose the Election Commissioner, because Election Commissioner has to be an independent person. There the Supreme Court has referred and said, independence is one of the intellectual ability. Then again it goes back to the source of recruitment. Initially it was, as per the constitution, by the government. We had seen many changes, many judgments. Ultimately, judge-made law is Collegium. Now many of the judges, they said that the Collegium is the most opaque system. Nobody knows what is going to happen. In that presidential reference, again I had the question, I said that why don't you give reason? The judges said, we are not supposed to give. Now they have come back, they are giving reasons. But ultimately appointment would be given by the executive. What happens? Many reference has been made. I give you very serious thing, which the executives controls, in spite of having a recommendation of the Collegium, the executives withholds that. because they find these persons who have been chosen would not be ultimately towing the line of the executives. You'll find many of the recommendations might be even from the state are withheld by executive. They want the manipulation of the seniority of the judges. I am talking of constitutional court. If the constitutional court can be independent and act fearlessly, automatically the tipping down theory would come, and the lower judge also also in a position to feel that superior judges are so much independent, therefore we have to be also independent. I don't blame the subordinate judiciary. I always look at the constitutional courts. There, one of the judges whom I know, he was definitely to become the Chief Justice of India. His recommendation by the Collegium was withheld by the administration for months together, almost 1 year. And in the meantime, one of their blue-eyed boy was elevated to Supreme Court. And by dint of seniority, that gentleman would become the Chief Justice of India. And if the Chief Justice of India becomes a person having akin to a particular philosophy, which does not like the equality, which does not like the secularism, which does not like that the downtrodden people would be pushed up, he will have the control over the system. And we have seen how the judges are reacting when the Chief Justice of India are not acting in a manner. Therefore, the question is, the source of recruitment must be very fair, and, if I may use that expression, to search out, having the social background, whom I am elevating, what was his social views and activities. Maybe that social views may not be akin to my philosophy, but if someone has a social view, then he has to act little bit of independence. That's my view. Think of Justice Krishnaya. He was a Communist Party member. He was a Communist government's cabinet minister, and he became the judge, and he became one of the best judges in the independent India. But this collegium system is, again I say, under cloud. Many references have been made. Therefore, we thought of an independent judicial commission for which constitutional amendment was made, but it was made defectively. The Supreme Court found that these are the areas by which our independence might be tampered with. The government, instead of taking care of that defects which was pointed out by the Supreme Court, and thereby correcting and plugging those loopholes, they kept mum. They also wanted let the Judicial Commission not be formed. I had the occasion to move a private bill in Rajya Sabha, and as you know, the fate of private bill as it is. The independence of judiciary must have correlation with the independence of choosing and try to find out the persons of independent integrity. If someone wants to become a judge by bartering the hands of the principal of a college or a member of Rajya Sabha, he should first be knocked out. That should be the idea. And for that, we have to have a system that must go on trial and error method. The best, as we have thought today, should be an independent commission who can find out the better people. But I conclude that is not the end of the road. Unless we, the litigant, and the voice of the litigant is lawyers, unless the lawyers raised their voice, stood up very straight and firmly saying you are doing this for these reasons, you are not doing justice as per the constitutional principle, then they will at least think twice before delivering anything else. We have seen many judgments, I am not going to trouble you. But one of the judgments, it said that because of economic reform, the selling of public sector enterprises, the workers have nothing to say. Dangerous judgment. But that's come. And we have to go on fighting. Just on the other day, in a similar nature of case, the Calcutta High Court Chief Justice said, you are arguing this against me. How do I argue against you? Well, I was a lawyer in that matter. As a junior lawyer had appeared. Philosophical bent of mind. But we have to stand up and hammer and hammer. Then only we can ensure independence of judiciary vis-a-vis Indian Constitution. Constitutional goal is the issue that should be kept in mind while discussing law, while delivering justice. I think with our all united effort, we can achieve that. It may not be very easy go, but still we can make it. Thank you.